Hello everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video today. Now, we have a little fighter in the North Atlantic. You guys may remember that disturbance dubbed Invest 90L that I talked about. I even mentioned yesterday evening that I'm not expecting much and was just anticipating the formation chance to drop. But guess who made a pretty good comeback? Well, that system is now Tropical Storm Andrea churning in the subtropical Atlantic. And as we look at the infrared satellites, you may be wondering, where is Andrea? Well, the system is struggling to maintain itself. Matter of fact, it is supposed to dissipate it should dissipate by later tonight or tomorrow morning, since it is moving into a more hostile environment. So that is Andrea right up there. As we look at visible satellite imagery before the nighttime hours come in here, we can see that little that cyclonic rotation, that anti-clockwise or counterclockwise spin of the system. So it's kind of bare of any significant convective activity right now, but it actually managed to reach the threshold to be considered a tropical storm and is the first of the North Atlantic hurricane season of 2025. Additionally, we have a lot of moisture in the Caribbean, nothing short of what was expected from yesterday, so we're going to be delving into that as well. So let's go into it. Okay, here we go. And as we look back at these satellite imagery, there we've got Andrea up there. And let's briefly talk about it. So first things first, no, it is not a threat to land. So this isn't something to be concerned about. And the system is moving off to the northeast at 20 miles per hour right now, sustaining maximum winds of 40 miles per hour. So Andrea is not a bother for anyone, well offshore Bermuda, well away from Canada and the US. And again, it is accelerating into a hostile environment. Well, it's been in a hostile environment, but the system has actually had that small window of opportunity and certainly grasped it so that it could be a tropical storm right now. But it should be off the map in just about less than a day or so. And as we look at the vicinity of the Caribbean, again, nothing short of what was expected. A lot of thunderstorms popping up this afternoon going into this evening. Parts of Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, towards Central America. It's been very, very active. Periods of heavy rain, all those thunderstorms being widespread as well. So there are two tropical waves in the region, and they are definitely helping out to influence the kind of activity that we've been seeing. Elsewhere across the region, it is a pretty tranquil evening, maybe a bit breezy, with some overcast skies. Maybe it's a bit clear for you down to the ABC Islands. Let me know what's been going on for your area. However, we're going to see this kind of continual activity over the next day or so for parts of the Caribbean pertaining to the rainfall and thunderstorm activity. So as we look at the graphic here, we can see what is expected. A lot of color, especially in the vicinity of the North and Western Caribbean. So as we head up to parts of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands as well, there could be some instances of showers and thunderstorms, especially periods of those heavy downpours. And then Cuba, the Cayman Islands, parts of Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, go into much of Central America, including Mexico, Belize, the Keys, the Bay Islands of Honduras, parts of Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, San Andres and Providencia, and then towards northern South America, parts of Colombia, Venezuela, northern Guyana, Suriname, and sections of French Guiana may also experience some periods of heavy rain. Trinidad, it may also be a little bit active for some areas, especially in the east and south of the country. And then for the ABC Islands, going to the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands as well, there could be a couple passing showers at times. And as I speak about the vicinity of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, there was a pretty moderate earthquake within that area. Let's go off on a little tangent in terms of that. So there was an estimated magnitude 5.7 earthquake that happened last night offshore the Dominican Republic. So the good thing, this happened in the Atlantic Ocean, so it didn't hit land directly, but there's a pretty decent chance that it has been felt by some person. So you can let me know if you're in Puerto Rico or Hispaniola if you felt a brief shaking. But aside from that, there have been many other smaller quakes within this general area, so it's been quite active. And just a reminder in terms of, precautions to take in terms of earthquakes. They are unpredictable. They can happen at any time. And even though they may last just a couple of seconds, they can do tremendous damage. So it is important that we remember these tips, have the back of our minds what to do in the event an earthquake does take place. And that primary thing that we hear about, drop, cover, hold on. So that's assuming that you're within the vicinity of a desk or table. But what if you're elsewhere? What if you're outside? Well, it's important to stay away from buildings, walls, and those power lines as well, or those poles. If you're inside, then it is important to stay away from furniture, windows, and lamps. And if you're driving, what you can do is to slow down and stop in a safe place as well. So you don't want to stop under a tree or a pole that may fall on top of your vehicle, or be within the vicinity of a weak building that may not be able to withstand the intensity, depending on how strong that earthquake is. So it's really something to do in the moment. So it's important we have these things in the back of our mind. Of course, we've seen it many times when we look at footages of earthquakes that may happen, and there are very minimal people who actually do these things, because when the real situation presents itself, it may be a completely different thing. But it is important that we try to stay calm as possible when these seismic events happen. They are scary for sure, but it's just a good thing that that main quake happened offshore. So please stay safe, guys. That is a seismically active area. Normally a few earthquakes happen every now and again, and there may be a more moderate shaking from time to time, which is what we saw happen last night. So that's what went on. But going back to the realm of weather, again, those tropical waves are moving by. There's likely to be some additional periods of heavy rain. And with that, one of the things I have continuously been highlighting is to be safe in the event of floodwaters, because there's been periods of flooding across some areas, and with the rainfall recurring day after day after day in the same location, especially those that are flood prone, the soil becomes very saturated, and so that continual rainfall activity could make that area more prone to flooding. So please stay safe as best as possible, guys. And as I mentioned, aside from Andrea, nothing else is out there right now, but I will be keeping you posted as necessary. So that is pretty much it for this update video today, and I trust and hope you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. I'll get to you when I have the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.